Perfect. Salute, and welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now swimming in the deep end with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Oh yes, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to get a hell of an education over here because, as you saw by the thumbnail and the title, we have to talk about the Mexican cartel and Chinese triad union. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be pissed off when you get the information I have to share with you on this broadcast. Because it is not going to be my opinion. It's not going to be conspiracy theory. It's not going to be, oh, you got a personal bias against immigration and the Republicans or the Democrats. Oh, no. We're going to fill in some gaps and blanks about a lot of questions that many brothers and sisters around the nation have about why these politicians are not taking this illegal alien invasion more serious. Now, family, for years, what have I told you on this channel when you want to get to the bottom of something? I've always said, what phrase? Follow the money. We're going to learn why they're keeping so quiet because, see, when you follow the money, just put two and two together. You know that these people that flee for a better life, air quotes, they dirt poor, they ain't got nothing but shoes on their feet, shirt on their back, if they come with shirts, okay? Now, it costs money for them to get over here, to get here. Now, never mind that you got crooked Jim Crow Joe Biden giving them all our tax dollars to see if they know that they get here while he's in office. Oh, it's a goodie bag waiting for you when you hit across that border. But just think for a moment, you dirt poor like that. How you getting here? Because that has to be facilitated. See, a lot of you probably don't know about the area called the Darien Gap. Oh, you're going to learn about it tonight. You're going to learn exactly what the tie-in is. But see, when it comes to the Mexican cartel and the Chinese triad, remember I did a report a while back, and excuse me here, because I've been over here eating some spicy stuff, but it's all good. We're going to power through this. But remember the broadcast that I did, where I showed you that most of those migrants coming through, a large percentage of them were Chinese nationals. Now, at the time when I did that, a lot of people like, that don't make no sense. Why are they coming away from China? Then some people like, okay, well, yeah, it would make sense that the Chinese would send their spies up through the southern border, which is smart. I'm not going to lie. If I was Xi Jinping, the president of China, I would exploit that weakness too. However, Don't you know that the Chinese triad are in competition with the government? So they're like, so the government doing that? The government that we're competing with that one day we want to overthrow so we can run things? The triad were like, oh, yeah, we got some players we got to send that route on the team too. Yeah. And see, tonight, what you're about to learn about this alliance, let me talk directly, as I always do, to Black America. Let me say this right now. Over here on this channel, I try to present you with information that you can use ahead of time before stuff hits the fan, if you will. I have to double and triple down on what I'm about to say. I've been seeing a lot of nonsense going on online. A lot of y'all probably know what it is. Don't even mention it in the chat. Let me tell you something. As a foundational Black American freedman, if you a Black immigrant brother or sister with some sense, you better start focusing on, is your house in order? Because what I'm about to show you tonight, especially if you have a family, it's going to concern you, because this is very dangerous. You hear me? In more ways than one. Okay? You're going to see what I mean about that, because I'm going to place the blame primarily at where it belongs, because they're in power now. So I'm finna make a lot of the donkey crats, as I like to call them, okay, the vote blue no matter who crowd, I'm finna piss them off. Oh yeah, I'm finna piss them off, because this right here. Oh, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. And before I go on any further, can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. If not, we will adjust the audio. All right, let me make sure everything is good over here. Okay, we looking good on my end. Let me know if everybody can hear me loud and clear. I'll wait for confirmation, because we finna get deep over here tonight. Y'all finna learn a great deal, and this just may, affect you where you are, because you'll probably start to connect some dots on some things that you saw that was very strange that didn't make any sense. Okay, good deal. Glad y'all can hear me. All right. So now, you probably saw this on our good brother Tariq Nasheed's channel. All right. Beware of stories spreading misinformation about Black men being fed up with Joe Biden and the Democrats. No, that's not misinformation, because you know what I'm about to do? See, for you Democrat shields, we're going to do something in real time, because we live over here. Or this is a live broadcast. We got some Black men in the chat, don't we? Am I not mistaken when I say we got some brothers in the chat over here? Do we not? Let me ask a question. If you are fed up with Joe Biden as a foundational Black American freedman man, or a non-FBA Black man, light this chat room up with fire. Let me see some fire. I mean, we need some fire trucks to come over here and put this chat room out. If there are Black men listening to the sound of this broadcast live, light it up with fire. And if you come across the broadcast after the playback, burn the comment section up. Because see, this whole, beware of stories spreading misinformation. Let me talk to you goofy Democrat shields. This isn't the era before the advent of technology, social media, the internet. You can't lie like you did in the 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, okay? Where you just, whatever you said, people had to believe it. You've insulted our people by saying that we talking about reparations, the anti-Black hate crime. Oh, you must be Russian bots. Because, Nigger is not supposed to care about our lives or getting what we're due on our land. So you insulted us and did that. Then to add insult to injury, you turned around and gave our tax dollars to everybody but us. Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And if you look in my chat room, there are a bunch of pissed off Black men in here. Damn it, I'm one of them. To hell with Jim Crow, Joe Biden, and these damn Democrats. Because see, let me talk to you further, Democrats, before we get into the exegesis we're going to dive into here tonight. One thing you're going to learn, especially about foundational Black American freedmen men, and I'll say non-FBA brothers that's over here on code and about their business, we don't deal in symbolism. We don't deal in what make me feel good. why you think most of us are not in these Hippocratic, demonic black churches. And if yours is not one, I'm not talking about yours. Let me tell you what we do deal in, though. And brothers, if you agree with what I'm saying, I want you to participate with this, because see, we need to sign off and let these bastards know exactly what we deal in. We deal in dollars and cents. So if you are a foundational Black American freedman man or a non-FBA man in this chat room, if you deal in dollars and cents, throw them dollar signs in that chat room. We got to let them know something. I'm doing this for a reason, family. I'm doing this for a reason because, see, they think we something to play with. Let me explain something to you, Democrats, and you better take a look at this chat room, because I see y'all over here in my analytics. I see you. I see you. You finna learn something tonight. Let me tell you something. You sit here trying to play this division game between black men and black women. That's not going to work, because, see, the brothers that are about our business, especially those that are family men, we can't take care of our families off of symbolism and I feel good and making you know what I'm saying, making these little goofy promises and you don't keep nothing. You're talking about, goofy symbolic stuff that we already celebrate anyway, like Juneteenth. We didn't need nobody to tell us to celebrate Juneteenth. We already done that. We don't play about our money. We don't play, okay? So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm finna show you exactly where we gonna lay the blame at, because see, now that they've been made aware that you're not playing, and before I go further, you're a black man in here that like to keep track of these things, y'all know what I'm finna put in the chat, because see, I want, especially the young brothers and sisters, and I'm saying sisters too, because we need all hands on deck. Let me put this site in the chat room, foreignassistance.gov. I got to put it in here 3 times. I got to do it. Because see, I want you to keep track of who are they giving our tax dollars to except us. A lot of people like, man, you keep putting that side out. You damn right. Because see, let me tell you something. One thing about me, I definitely deal in dollars and cents. I keep track of every red dime, half a dime, okay? I want my people to keep track of that too, because see, when it's time to confront these damn politicians on either side of the aisle, when they start all that goofy talk, you be like, hey, whoa, I don't want to talk about nothing else. Let's start at the top. Let's talk dollars and cents. You see this information here on foreignassistance.gov? Where's our cut of that money? Those are our tax dollars. So now, Mr. Politician, Donkey Crat, or Republican, if you're not finna start at the top talking about what's gonna benefit me and my community, have a nice day, sir or ma'am. That's it. It's as simple as that. That's the footing we're gonna have to be on with these people, family. Cause see, tonight what I'm about to show you, yeah, y'all, boy, look, I apologize in advance because it's gonna piss y'all, but I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes it's good to be pissed off. Pissed off is very useful, okay? Pissed off is very useful when you intend to act on that said information that you've gained, all right? Because see, before we get started, let me remind you all of exactly who they saying that, it's misinformation that we're not fed up with Jim Crow Joe Biden. No, never mind the 94 crime bill that devastated black men and black women, because he locked up some black women too, okay? Yeah, just devastate our community. Now, the same issue that you mass incarcerated my people for, what is it today, family? Say it with me. It's a medical issue. It's a medical emergency. It wasn't a medical issue for my people when you dumped all them damn drugs in my community, you bastards, you. So I'm not going to say too much more. We going to remind you of exactly who they say that is misinformation when you say black men are fed up with you, buddy. And you know what? Let me give credit where credit is due. Because see, one thing about this platform here, even if I have ideological disagreements with somebody or I don't see things eye to eye as far as ideology, let me speak up for these brothers. A lot of y'all gonna be shocked when I say this, but this is a news platform and I report truth over here. For you Democrats that's saying that shit, and even though I don't agree with some of the gender banging that go on, them Black Manosphere brothers are real black men and they fed up with Joe Biden. You damn right, I'm saying it. Most of those brothers are conservatives. Go try that bullshit with them. Oh, no, those are real black men. I promise you that. They are 100% fed up with Jim Crow Joe Biden, okay? But that's okay though. Don't never mind all these black men, because we really rushing bots according to them. Family, if you're a black man in this chat, I want you to see if what I'm about to play for you here at the beginning of this broadcast, you tell me whether it makes you just say, you know what, that 94 crime bill, GBS, be quiet, man. That's in the past. Jim Crow Joe's one of my favorite people. Then you see him sitting down eating chicken with black folks. So I might have it wrong. I'm a fair man. Y'all tell me if I got it wrong. I'm going to play something for you. And, you guys, you brothers, my fellow brothers here, you tell me if this warms your spirit when you think of Jim Crow Joe.
If we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
Well. Now, brothers, black men gathered together here in my chat room. You heard my opening statements at the beginning of this broadcast. Do you remember that? Do you remember them sound bowls he was sitting out there putting, that alabaster pimp hand down on? Now, did those comments warm your heart, brothers? Am I just sitting up here, did I get it wrong about, the article that I showed? Because they said it's misinformation, right? You all gonna have to get more used to working with Hispanics. They make up a larger portion of the population y'all do. Correction, before you flooded the damn border with all these damn illegal aliens, they didn't. But see, that lets you know that this was engineered. You understand? Oh, it was engineered because, see, let me tell you something, dude. If this country really ran like it was supposed to, Paul Mooney had a joke where he said, you know what? And I'm paraphrasing, but he said every 4 years we should go up to that White House and start chopping off heads. They'd be like, hurry up, put the money back, they're coming. I'm telling you, if there was forensic audits on all these politicians, that entire place up there would look like a ghost town. They would all have to go to jail, including the Sambos and flunkies up there in the Congressional Black Caucus. Because see, what I'm about to show you next, ladies and gentlemen, we will be stopping it as need be to give commentary. This is going to explain a lot about what's going on down there at that border. Oh, it's more than migrants. This right here, the next time that any one of those Democrat politicians are seeking your vote, raise this concern and go on foreignassistance.gov and print out the hard numbers for the area that you in your state. And you confront them with these issues. See, before I let this play, let me make this clear. When you confronting these people, I don't care whether it's on the local level, state level, whatever, you don't let them who are public servants paid by our tax dollars tell you what the agenda is. You tell them. They work for us. You understand? So get your pens and pads out and prepare to be pissed off, but it's going to piss you off in a good way because this is something that all of you need to know because they flooded, they flooded this country. And those of you that have children, you need to be aware of what's being funneled up here into these neighborhoods where they're just all over the place, okay? Protect your kids because this right here, it could be somewhere near you. Let's let this play.
We're back now with our investigation into human trafficking in the illicit marijuana industry. Before tonight, it was hard to tell who is responsible. Now, Jacob Soboroff reports that a sophisticated international money laundering partnership may be to blame, with deadly consequences. It's the latest report in our series, Captives of Cannabis.
It's early in the morning in Riverside County, California. These sheriff's deputies are about to execute a dozen search warrants on residential homes. They say they're going to find illegal marijuana grows there and victims of human trafficking working on those grows. But first, they're going to go after the leader of the operation. Is this person a mid-level operator, kingpin, mastermind?
I would say this is a mid-level operator. We believe that the people that are ultimately in control are likely in China.
Search warrant, open the door!
All right.
Nice and easy. I got him.
What did you guys find in there?
We found several documents that ultimately link these suspects living in this home to several of the other locations that we've been investigating.
The couple's arrested, and deputies focus on the organized crime ring they say this grow appears to be a part of.
We don't know how large this organization is, but we do believe that it is global to some extent.
If it is so big, how come you guys are out here alone? Where's the federal government? Where's the DEA?
That's a great question.
To push for answers, we met Bill Bodner, DEA's special agent in charge of Los Angeles, for an exclusive interview.
In our reporting, we've seen Chinese nationals involved in the illicit cannabis trade. The law enforcement that we've been talking to says that they believe that the bosses of those operations are back in China. How is that connected to what you're seeing?
The Chinese criminal organizations have such a desire for U.S. dollars in cash that they're getting into a variety of criminal enterprises to create that cash. And I'm not surprised to hear that them running cannabis grows, it's generating cash that they're then using to accomplish capital flight out of China.
In other words, the DEA says this form of organized crime is one that extends far beyond black market cannabis and is rooted in a desire for Chinese nationals in the U.S. to get their money out of China due to recent restrictions on how much they can take out of the country. A U.S. Treasury official tells NBC News that Chinese criminal organizations are operating in the U.S. and now working with Mexican cartels by helping them launder money made from meth, fentanyl, and other drugs. They do so by loaning out the cartels' dollars to unsuspecting Chinese people living in America. These criminal organizations are then repaid in Chinese currency back in China, and the money launderers buy Chinese products and have them shipped to Mexico, where they're sold and give that money in pesos back to the cartels. In the end, no money actually crosses international borders, and the Treasury Department says the dirty dollars are, quote, disappearing into thin air. The DEA says instead of products like the clothes and appliances that were once widely available here in LA's wholesale district, the products money launderers are sending from China to Mexico are deadly.
Guess which product is very available in China that's not available here at all? Precursor chemicals. It was the synthetic drug explosion in 2015 and 2016. When this capital flight model started, precursor chemicals were used as a way to transfer wealth.
In Mexico, the precursors are made into meth and fentanyl, synthetic drugs that have caused U.S. overdose deaths to more than double since 2015.
Hey, Sinaloa cartel, let me introduce you to Chinese organized crime. That's what happened. And by working together, they've been able to get millions, if not billions of dollars out of China into the United States, and they've been able to use a synthetic drug trade to do it.
For you in the DEA, how do you go after stopping this from happening?
Our focus is 100% Sinaloa cartel, Jalisco New Generation cartel, and it's because of this synthetic drug trade. It's like nothing we've seen before.
Until then, Mexican cartels and Chinese organized crime continue to use the United States as their middleman, with no end in sight. Jacob Soboroff, NBC News.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to the brother Rashawn for the cash app. Thank you very much, my brother. So much to unpack here. Now think about it, family. They always running around talking about black on black crime. This, you know that Paranamouth Hilfer Diane Yap. Black on black crime, huh? See, let me break this down and get real. The Chinese Triad in mainland China, they actually do they had an issue with the Chinese government. Okay? But when it comes to this particular issue, let me tell you why you're not going to see the Chinese government crack down on them. Because they're doing them a favor. Let me explain this to you. I want y'all to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. In this instance, since the Triad is dealing in fentanyl, which most of them folks like, and it's taking them out of here, their numbers already low. Everything I'm saying, you better believe, if you study Chinese military history, they're doing what I'm about to tell you. They said, you know what? We competing with the Triad over here. They want to take over the government. However, this particular issue abroad, they're helping us out. They're selling poison to our main primary military enemy, So we're not going to try to clamp down on them. Is it making sense now? They've made some deals to say, hey, you know what? Knock as many of them off as you can. Then you see what they said about how they're laundering the money. So if you wonder, well, GBS, exactly how they pull that off? Oh, I'm glad you asked, if that was your question. I'm about to get deep into that. I'm going to show you something else, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. All this money that they invest in trying to go after black people with surveillance programs, some of them y'all never heard of, like Candygram, devices like Genesis, things of that nature. If you're on my Patreon and you've seen the file that I posted about that, okay? I can't really go into detail about a lot of that on YouTube, but it's tailored access operations. If you're over there on Patreon, the paid member section, you take a good look at that list, okay? That's about all I can say about that on YouTube. Just know that's the stuff that they spend all that money on to surveil black people, okay? You should be worried about this because this ain't black people nowhere involved in this. You see this diagram that I got up here? I got it up here for a reason. Mexican cartel, Chinese triad. Before I let you see this, let me give you some history about the triad real quick, okay? Now, just starting with the two alliances here, the Mexican cartel, they're more of the muscle, okay? Muscle, weaponry, knock your head off, boy, without even skipping a beat. Go home, sleep at night, just fine, okay? The military down there have to deal with them. They can't send no police to deal with the cartel. And see, if you go down there to Mexico, nice place, nice food, okay? You better not play down there, bruh. Don't you go to the wrong place if you don't know where you're going. You turn, zig when you should have zagged. Let me tell you something, dude. They will take your ass hostage in a minute, especially if you them folks. Okay? Sometimes you might can bribe your way out of it. Sometimes you might stumble across something that you shouldn't have seen, and ain't no bribing your way out of it. They're going to help you finish with all your living. So that's the Mexican cartel, heavy hitters. Don't play the radio, okay? The Chinese triad, they got hitters over there, but they're more organized with what they do, international. Their only competition as far as like Asian organized crime would be the Japanese Yakuza. Now, the Yakuza is above them for one main reason. Big money, okay? The Triad is right behind them. But the Yakuza, man, listen, let me tell you something, dude. A lot of people over here, when it comes to the Yakuza, they have this character design. Oh, all of them got these big old tattoos on their back. No, they don't. That's only a certain division of them. Most of them could be sitting at a coffee table right next to you in Starbucks, and unless you knew what you was looking for, you wouldn't even know it. Let me tell you something. These are the guys, clean cut, well-spoken, highly educated. The only way you would know what they got going on is if they really wanted you to know or if you knew what you was looking for. The only really international competition would be the Chinese triad. Now, they do have a rivalry with one another if their paths happen to cross. It's more than just money and organized crime. If you know your history about, this is why I also pay to know history. If you know your history about what the Japanese did to the Chinese, even though this is 2024, there are still some bad blood between them with that. And I can't blame China, okay? You don't know what I'm talking about? Go look up things like the rape of Nanking, et cetera, okay? But what I'm about to show you tonight, for you goofy Republicans and Democrats, black folks are not your problem. We're not doing this. You got some serious decisions to make because, see, let's just say you don't care about the black folks. That's cool. Don't worry. You have a dwindling population problem globally, but just right here in America. Your enemy has figured out your weakness. For years, it's always been recreational drugs. So, you snort enough cocaine, you'll get yourself up out of here. But this fentanyl, that's the one here to quitter. So now that you've made it a medical issue and you're not locking your folks up, because, you can't mass incarcerate Alabama people. They special, Completion for the protection, all that. Now that you've said it's a medical issue and you chose to ignore this thing, your open enemy is like, good. That's exactly what you need to do. Ignore it. Flood the zone, okay? I mean, look, it's dirty, but I mean, when you're trying to win, ain't nobody really talking about fair. Look up the name Si Chi Lop. You're going to hear that name here tonight. Okay? Just keep that name in mind. And see, I'll tell you a bit of history about this. And salute to my good brother Black Vulture and Reloaded in here. He can verify what I'm about to tell you. In case a lot of you are still confused about why Mexico and China would decide to partner, let me give you a bit of West Coast history about how the Chinese triad operate back in the 70s. Brother Black Vulture, you'll know this well. There's a dude, he's free over there now, named Raymond Chow. His nickname was Shrimp Boy. His partner back at the time when he was a high roll over there in the San Francisco, Chinatown area. His partner at the time was a guy named Peter Chung. He was a triad member, sent from China. Peter Chung came over with this idea that was given to him by his bosses over there in China called Tien Hao Wei. That is Mandarin for Whole Earth Association. What the plan was, it was to say, okay, come on over there, Peter Chung. You unite all the Chinese gangs and organized crime in America under us, get that money, send that profit back to China, okay? This is a continuation and an update of Tien Hao Wei, okay? Now, that's what's in it for the Chinese. What's in it for the Mexican cartel? Hey, you know what? We really don't like them folks like that either because they coming down here in Mexico gentrifying stuff. And I don't know if y'all heard it. You got them folks stupid enough to go down there and start telling Mexican people that their food too spicy. And I forget this type of music that they play. It's a type of music that honors the cartel. They talking about they shouldn't play that music. Let me tell you something. Yeah, y'all white folks, I usually don't say this to you. You better quit playing around with that because they take that very seriously down there. If you say anything, I'm trying to remember that particular kind of music that if you go down there, it's basically songs honoring the cartel. You know what I'm saying? If you go down there talking trash about that, that'll get your head knocked smooth out. But, you know, I'm going to leave it alone. That's their community, their business. Bottom line is this. Everything I'm about to show you here tonight, these politicians got some questions to answer. So when they come around you with the goofiness, in addition to an anti-black hate crime bill, reparations, if they say, well, what are your others? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Besides this foreignassistance.gov, this map that I'm finna show you, what about national security? And you bring up everything I'm about to show you here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to take notes.
We're going undercover. We've managed to infiltrate the Chinese mafia who are operating here in Mexico City. They work very, very closely with the drug cartels. So this is pure fentanyl. I mean, what would taking a pinch of this do to me?
Se muere.
Necesita lavar el dinero pues para poder hacer dinero que tú puedas utilizar.
They're expecting us to be there to do a transaction.
Once they are touching that dirty money, they're just as guilty as the drug traffickers.
Fentanyl is killing everybody. You're gonna die.
So we are somewhere deep in the state of Sinaloa here in Mexico, and we're just walking up to what we believe is a fentanyl lab where Sinaloa cartel members are mixing fentanyl. And the drugs that are made here are then going to go straight to the US, which is feeding the opioid crisis right now. Cooking some pretty potent chemicals here, so I'm just sit up.
Sí, pues que estamos aquí a Acetona, a la base, para darle señal al fentanilo. Y aquí está en un proceso, estamos esperando que salga poquito vapor para echarle más acetona y echarle propanilo.
So they've just put in the brown powder there was precursors. and they're mixing it now with acetone. Where is it that the precursors are coming from? Do you know?
De China. Esta bolsa viene de China, así como está, viene de China. Ya nosotros aquí la hacemos en procesos.
Small secret labs like these, run by Mexico's cartels, are where the deadly drug fentanyl is made. It's fueling an addiction crisis in the US.
Now, I'm going to pause it right here. That's what you're looking at on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Pure, uncut fentanyl, okay? Now, I'm going to ask a question. We got more people gathered over here. I got to ask this question. I'm not being facetious. Because, see, I want this to really make them look like the idiots that they are. I'm talking about that goofy donkey party. How many black people do any of you know? How many of you have seen any black person with a damn fentanyl lab set up somewhere? When last time y'all seen that? Not that you would be looking for it, but I'm just saying. You can't go in any black neighborhood, hey man, where the nearest fentanyl lab at, man? And no, we don't deal in that. Ain't got no planes bringing that over here. No. So while they sitting here black on black crime, see, you better worry about the people that really don't like you like that, because if you've been over here on this channel for any length of time, or never mind my channel, if you're a well-traveled person and you've been to China, let me tell you something. The Chinese, believe it or not, they really don't like them folks like that. They call them white pig in China. So that's one thing I get to China. They don't really like nobody like that. They really don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying all Chinese people, but I'm saying most of them, they don't really rock with them folks like that, okay? They really don't. So my point is this. Those of you in the dominant society that's in power, you got a big problem on your hand, and everything I'm finna show my audience over here tonight, as they already know, it ain't got nothing to do with black people. Let's let it continue.
Estamos dando punto final aquí ya de fentanilo puro. Material puro. Aquí le metemos el corte para que no esté tan fuerte.
So this is pure fentanyl. I mean, what would taking a pinch of this do to me?
Probablemente que se pueda morir.
And how much does this go for in the US right now?
35,000 dólares tiene que andar para allá.
Is that a helicopter, the military?
Hay mucho movimiento del gobierno. Pasan y vienen de todos lados a veces. Está peligroso para el gobierno.
What happens if you get caught?
Me llevan preso para toda la vida, creo.
These guys have heard that the military could be in this area, so they're keen to get us moving, and they are evacuating this lab up here, moving the products to another lab where they're going to finish the process. Fentanyl is now the biggest killer of young Americans. Last year, over 100.
Oh, let me stop her right there. Oh, no. You probably say, well, GBS, why are you pausing it right here? Because, see, we're over here in the Black Ocean, and my primary concern is the proper education on these matters of Black America when it comes to this. Family, what she just tried to do is a tactic that I want all of you to burn this in your mind if you don't already have this in there, especially any young Black people listening to me tonight. I'm going to keep my language at a minimum because I want even children to be able to listen to this. Let me tell you something. When them folks are in trouble, historically and present day, they try to make their problems our problems, in particular in Black America. Oh, it's the youngest killer young Black. No, ma'am. No, it's not. There are no young Black people in large numbers messing with no fentanyl. With the exception, unfortunately, and I'm not saying this to mock that sister, may she rest in peace, but Lawrence Smithfield's situation is very, very rare. Most Black folks ain't messing with them hard drugs. Now, let's be honest, and this is something that I hate. Used to be a time where if you were going to talk about drug use in the Black community, which I'm not an advocate of any of it, but it wouldn't go no further than some weed And then if it really got bad, we all understand what happened with the crack era, etc. Every now and again, you see these celebrities with the cocaine, etc. But this stuff today, when, folks doing these pills, ecstasy and Molly and all of that, it used to be them folks' drugs, okay? I hate to I just got to tell the truth. But one damn thing I know most black people got sense enough not to do, this fentanyl? Oh, no. Understand this. If black folks are trying to get high, they want to live to repeat the experience. Not that I'm advocating drug use. No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is this is a lie. And it's a tactic like, hey, guys, everybody needs to be concerned. No, ma'am, that's your community's problem. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying it's her community's problem. Because like I said at the onset of the broadcast, during the 94 crime bill era, you did not say that my people's problem with your community cause was everybody's problem, ma'am. You didn't say that. You turned the blind eye to that. It's just like historically, anytime something bad only affect black people off, that's the niggers over there. Ain't got nothing to do with this. Now that this is knocking you off left, right, and center, you can't get control of it. And see, you know what? I'm going to be merciful and say something. You know the main reason, white America, because that's who I'm talking to, you know the main reason why you have that drug problem? I got to go in and tell you. See, when you are in a privileged position for so long, unearned benefits off of my people's hard sweat, blood, tears, and free labor, the least little inconvenience, you don't know how to fix things or endure things. The first thing you want to do, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Let me get high. Let me get drunk. And this is why I do not like our people doing that just to cope with issues and problems. Unless you got some type of chronic health issue and pain, do not turn to drugs or alcohol as the first solution for a problem. Because after you get high or drunk and you come down, the problem will still be there. Chances are it's going to be even worse. Okay? Let your coping mechanisms be constructive things that will benefit you. Let me further expound on that because I'm talking to my people now. If you listen to this broadcast live recorded and you dealing with an issue or problem, like I said, let the solution to it be constructive. But however, if you can't find a coping mechanism that's going to help you deal with that issue or problem, then let whatever you're doing at least cause you no harm. See, understand in life, all of us that are listening to this, you were a winner at least one time. You know why? Because you here in the world. You beat out all those other sperm cells to make it into this world. Okay? So you were a winner at least once. You better start saying that, okay, if I'm going to continue to win in life, you need to be at your optimum. Which one of you in here, if you were going into a championship fight, you would go into that fight not your best, huh? You would go into the fight while you got the flu or, you would go into the fight while you hurt or injured or something. No, you're going to go into that fight initially at your best if you want to win. So it's the same thing when it comes to drugs. So now back to them folks. Remember during the pandemic, the minute that they got uncomfortable, we couldn't get haircuts, or losing their mind just because they couldn't just. See, that's another thing too. They lost their mind when they couldn't have access to those modern day conveniences and services because they have this thing about being served. They love to be served, all of them, even this generation here. They're accustomed to being served. As black folks, we like to be served when we go out or what have you, but guess what? Every brother or sister listening to this broadcast, if you didn't have access to the modern conveniences, what did we all do? Figured it out. They don't have that, family. When Brother Tariq mentions the Mojara spirit, this is exactly what our good brother is talking about. And see, I'm going to say it again. Let me reiterate this because it's been a while since I said it. This is why I am incapable 1,000% due to my upbringing and looking at them as a grown man and seeing how the minute that they get uncomfortable, they crumble like dust. This is why I'm incapable of looking at them as my betters or as heroes. You don't really hear me talk about a bunch of them in no high esteem because I'm just going to say it. I don't view them on the same plane of manhood as me. You don't know anything about having to struggle with anything. You don't. So yeah, I'm just saying, I just got to put that out there. So I understand I went on a bit of a rant there, but I just wanted to clear that up. She said that, oh, it's the highest killer of young people. No, ma'am, it's the highest killer of young white Americans. You got a big problem on your hands because your people sit there and turn the other cheek and turn the other way on issues that are affecting your community. And now your enemies overseas have capitalized on this. Let it continue.
100,000 people died of drug overdoses, most from fentanyl. This multi-billion-dollar trade is largely controlled by two huge drug cartels. The Sinaloa, Mexico's most established cartel, which for years was run by the infamous El Chapo, and the Jalisco New Generation cartel, who've expanded rapidly thanks to their brazen violence, slaughtering judges, politicians, police, and thousands of civilians. Both from China. That's only one piece of the chain.
After the cartels sell those drugs in the US, they work to get their profits back to Mexico. And they do that through illicit finance. Often today we see through Chinese money laundering organizations that are operating both in the United States and in Mexico.
Chinese criminal organizations are now stepping in to provide a solution to a problem that's plagued Mexico's cartels for decades. How do you move billions of US dollars in drug profits over the border to Mexico and turn it into legitimate, clean cash? We've spent months looking into how drug profits move between China, Mexico, and the US to shed a light on a world that operates entirely underground. We want to know how this money's moving and who it's profiting. In Culiacan, we tracked down a more senior Sinaloa cartel member who handles money directly. He agreed to speak as long as we hid his identity.
Necesita lavar el dinero pues para poder hacer dinero que tú puedas utilizar.
How much money is it that you're dealing with?
Son bastantes millones de dólares, la verdad, mensualmente.
Have you been working with the Chinese?
Pues en realidad sí se lleva a cabo transacciones con la mafia china.
Are they good business partners?
Bien, se trabaja bien. No se dimensiona como un enemigo o una competencia, vaya como lo quisiera llamar. Es un colaborador, simplemente.
He showed us evidence.
Now let me pause it right there and point something out that's very important, because see, I'm gonna teach multiple types of lessons over here tonight. If you saw the caption there, that's why I took the banner down so you could see it. But in case you didn't catch it, what he said when she asked him what do they think of the Chinese, are they good business partners? He said, we don't consider them enemies or rivals, okay? He said that they're just simply collaborators. Now, why is that important? See, one thing we better learn over here in Black America, and particularly our addresses at the beginning of the broadcast with a lot of this goofy silliness that's going on online. Y'all know what I'm talking about. People squabbling here, there, and the third. You better understand these other groups. They know how to come together and say, okay, you know what? You would be our competition, but we have a common denominator problem, which is the United States government. You come up with a solution, I come up with a solution, let's put this solution together and we can make this work and everybody's getting paid and we benefit out of it. Know when to put petty differences aside to focus on a common denominator issue. So I know that was a bit of an aside, but I couldn't pass up the point or the chance to teach that lesson. Let's let it continue.
Multi-million-dollar deals he'd struck between the Sinaloa cartel and Chinese criminal groups. If this money laundering system didn't exist and the money couldn't get back into Mexico, would the drug trade still exist?
No, pues es un negocio que si no te da ganancias, ¿no? ¿Cómo vas a tener un negocio que no te da una rentabilidad?
The cartel's new business partners are members of China's triads. These are criminal mafia groups known for dealing in narcotics, smuggling, and extortion. The triads are both feared and glamorized in Chinese culture and society, and their influence has spread around the world. Among the largest and most powerful is a group known as 14K. They're alleged to have aligned themselves with the Chinese Communist Party, even reportedly beating up protesters in Hong Kong on behalf of Beijing. We wanted to investigate what it means for Mexican drug cartels and Chinese triads to join forces, and how that lethal partnership is transforming not just the drug trade, but the flow of corrupt money around the globe. The only way to find out what was going on was to go undercover. So we are currently heading towards a karaoke bar where we've been invited by the Chinese guys we've been hanging out with the last few days. With the help of our colleague, whose face and voice we're disguising for his own security, we managed to identify and infiltrate a Chinese criminal network. Our colleague posed as a wealthy Chinese businessman, and I was his girlfriend. We both wore hidden cameras. Turned out, this was a regular night for these guys, who live in a world of drugs, sex, and late nights. It wasn't long before they were boasting to us about how they work with cartels to traffic drugs to Asia, smuggle people across borders, and their most lucrative line of business, laundering drug money.
即係黑道嚟講啊，我大佬佢哋嗰個行得人嚟㗎，信佢哋啊？呢個大佬嚟㗎，呢個係啊？接過大佬。唔係，即係呢個咪就係你話新大嘅鬼。
Their boss, they tell us, is a high-ranking member of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel in Mexico. They also claimed connections to the 14K Triad, one of the most powerful and dangerous Chinese mafia groups in the world.
呢啲就方面咧，基本上好幾個字頭啦，有幾個字。
It quickly became clear we'd found the right people. After the Triad members had warmed to us, they brought us to a rundown-looking restaurant, which they used as a base for their global operations. To infiltrate this side of the drug business, we told them we came from mainland China, that we were rich and open to doing business. This got us in with the core group. This is Jack, the ringleader who oversees the money laundering operation. His business partner Samuel, who seems to know how to spend that money.
Now let me pause this and point something else out that's very important, because see, I'm gonna make a whole ass of the donkey party over here tonight. Family, we remember when they ran that egregious propaganda on our people, talking about, oh, black people are just running around here attacking Asians and all. And then they gave them this hate crime bill. They just leapfrog us. According to the FBI crime statistics, we have led in hate crimes for decades in this country. Yet they get a hate crime bill over us. See, now these jokers have extra protection to not get prosecuted. Think about it. They're not harassing them and hey, are you selling fentanyl? No. They're the model minorities, remember? Oh, yeah. See, let me tell you something. White supremacy is an illogical beast, okay? It's illogical. Because, see, at this juncture right here, with everything else that you've seen and what you're about to see, they place themselves in a hole. Let me be blunt. These people are in trouble, family. Now, by them people, I mean them folks. They are in trouble because, see, if your numbers are already naturally dwindling, and then what if those of you that survived the pandemic, okay, that was a big loss to you because you took the biggest losses over here in America. during the pandemic, no matter how much propaganda they try to spread. I mean, they can't even really mathematically lie about that, even though they will try with that per capita. But you took the biggest whole number of losses, okay, during the pandemic. Now you got this fentanyl sitting on top of your head. Before that, you already had the highest suicide rates. Then, you got your little terroristic mass shooters running around here. All these problems you got. And all of them are subtracting from your numbers. Oh, but black people are the problem. I just want to point that part out, because, we the low IQ people over here, though, according to them. Let's let it continue.
And this guy, who they call Fatty. He's part of the growing second-generation Chinese diaspora in Mexico, and he puts his language skills to good use. Our contacts told us they're able to launder huge sums of money for the Mexican cartel by drawing on their connections to Chinese elites. With China's own economy slowing and an increased threat of government intervention, more and more wealthy Chinese are looking to send their money overseas. But there are strict government controls on Chinese currency leaving the country. So rich people in China are turning to underground criminal organizations like these to help move their assets while getting around the laws. And that's where we come in. We asked if they'd help us get our cash out of China.
Let me make sure that, I add a bit more detail to what she said, because she's trying to softball that. Oh, no, I'm not going to let her softball that. See, here's the deal. The reason why this is how those wealthy Chinese families back on the Chinese mainland are turning to people like this. Let me tell you how they found these guys that are here in America. In every Chinatown, there are organizations that you call Chinese tongues, okay? Now, are all of them criminal organizations? No, but there's a criminal element over there. So what they do is they're like, okay, when you get to the U.S., find you a Chinatown and find a tongue that's responsible for doing what they do. I just wanted to clarify that for my people, because see, they be trying to sugarcoat stuff. We don't play them games over here. You can verify everything I've said. So let it continue.
So what do wealthy Chinese elites have to do with Chinese Triad members and Mexican drug cartels? The Chinese Triad members launder drug profits through a system of informal money transfers, called flying money in Chinese. The Mexican cartels make money from selling drugs. Let's say they have $1 million in cash they've made from fentanyl sales. That money gets put in a bag and given to members of the Chinese Triad in the US. In exchange, the Triad pays back the cartels in legal pesos, minus a commission fee. The Triads are now holding $1 million of dirty cash. That's US dollars that wealthy Chinese elite want. So the Triads give that dirty drug money to those elites. In China, those wealthy elites transfer the same amount of money in Chinese currency to multiple bank accounts controlled by the Triads. All these complex moves are known as mirror transactions. No actual money crosses borders. Chinese yuan stay in China, dollars stay in the US, and pesos stay in Mexico. It all happens super quick, making it almost impossible for US authorities to pick up on. The Chinese Triad members we were with showed us receipts of previous transactions they've done.
Now, let me go ahead and burst that bubble on something else. Remember the earlier report that I showed you where the DEA agent was being asked, well, not the DEA agents, the local law enforcement guy was being asked, where's the DEA? And he was like, that's a good question. I'm going to tell you why you're not going to see them. In case you don't already know this, for those that have innocent ears, the DEA is one of the most crooked organizations in this country. I'll tell you why they're not going to be all over this, because the reason why they're so crooked, they have a, well, if you can't beat them, join them mentality. So since you heard her explain that, and she's accurate by the description, and everything is done so fast, they're like, you know what, let me get a piece of this. Now, how do they get a piece of it? Let me show you something. Both the Mexican cartel and now the Chinese Triad, which is the new player into this game here at that border crisis situation, both of them are saying, like, look, the Chinese Triad, they've come over there. I'm just going to give you the basic breakdown. They're like, okay, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. The Mexican cartel has been bribing the DEA for years, okay? Is it the entire DEA? No, but it's enough of them why they can't stop things, okay? So the Mexican cartel was like, look, follow our lead on this. We're going to break them a little bit of bread so that they don't cause us any problems when we try to do what we do. That's the part that she wasn't saying. So I'm going to make it make sense over here tonight. Let's let it continue.
The scale can be enormous. These guys aren't the first to do this. In 2021, a man named Shijie Li pleaded guilty to laundering tens of millions of dollars for both the Sinaloa and New Generation cartels. We reviewed thousands of pages of court documents in this and similar cases, which detail strikingly similar patterns to what we saw for ourselves in Mexico. Mike Cislega was one of the investigators who busted that case open.
Not just ZZ Lee, but him and his associates were laundering hundreds of millions of dollars, which was mind-blowing for, a task force officer in Memphis. Couldn't believe how much money was exchanging hands.
How good a partner are the Chinese mafia for the Mexican cartels?
Incredible partner, because the cartels were no longer relying on the actual transport of cash coming from the U.S. back to Mexico. Instead, they could get their money the next day.
And you better believe that the main reason they're pissed off, just like they were pissed off at El Chapo, is because they didn't think of this first. That's how, the white supremacists see things. Everything he just said, they're pissed off because they didn't think about it first. You think these people really want to stop the drug trade or stop crime? No, they just want to make sure they're making the most money off of it and control who get to buy and sell and where they can sell. You think I'm wrong about that? Let me give you a bit of an education, give you a bit of a comparison market. Look at how the dominant society acts about who and which countries get to have nuclear weapons. Oh, yeah. You see how that works? Oh, they get nervous when, hey, you shouldn't have nuclear weapons. Why do you think Kim Jong-un over there, the ruling dictator of North Korea, is like, hey, play with me if you want to. Hey, you know what I'm saying? See, notice that. They don't go messing with countries that have nuclear powers like they do. They never will. They're cowards. And the brother asked a good question here in the chat room. He asked, was there any truth that China is trying to set up a military base in Mexico? I'll tell you this. They are in talks to do a lot of things, okay? And just know that if you see, certain actions being taken, then you will know why. I'll have to go into detail about that on Patreon. But for now, I want y'all to take notes on what they're about to describe about this operation here. Let's let it continue.
Came across your case, which actually was part of the reason that spurred us on to do our investigation. So we did want to show you some of the stuff we were able to get.
We had intercepted communications that were very similar in nature. They would send a confirmation code, which was a serial number, usually of a $20 bill, that once both the courier and the person who was ready to pick up the money, they would confirm they have the same code, and the exchange would be made.
$20 bills seems to be what they're dealing in. Why is that?
It's what drug traffickers come across most.
他正正你講翻嗰啲咩㗎啦，我補翻你嘅，呢樣嘢冇嘢。
你控制得到嘅。
控制得到。
The Chinese money launderers, which is another reason the Mexican cartels like to use them so much, would guarantee their money. Once that transfer is made, if they get stopped, they would still pay the Mexican cartel, even if their money got seized. We actually experienced that.
Wow. So even if they get stopped by the authorities, they get picked up on, the Chinese are still going to cough up that money?
Correct. They guarantee it.
So just from what you've seen here, what is your assessment of where these guys fall within this triad network?
Well, I can tell you they're not the bosses, because the bosses don't handle money, right? They have people who do that for them. But these seem like they're individuals who are very close to the top.
And presumably then they're making quite a lot of money themselves.
Absolutely. They get a commission on every transfer they do.
How quickly do these transfers take place?
Could be several hours or at least within 24 hours, which was obviously significantly faster than the Mexican cartels could do it themselves. It could be several months before the money launderer or money broker recoups his money, but they front the money and then they will get it back in goods that they can sell for even more money.
We saw that last step of the money laundering process firsthand. Back in Mexico City, our contacts took us to a wholesale market where they control several warehouses.
嘿，揾到啦，揾到啦，都係呢部啊。係。
都是从中国出口的。
中国出口。
什么样的东西啊？
好雜啊，雜貨不斷，做好大。
These face masks, as well as clothes, seafood, goods like the ones sold here in these warehouses, come from China. The Triad sells goods like these to recoup their money.
但佢哋都係俾 cash 㗎係嘛？係我哋做員工唔做嘅。
The goods are imported using the drug profits that are at this point sitting in the Triad's bank accounts in China. In Mexico, these goods are sold for pesos. These pesos, now taxed and on paper totally legit, can be used to repay members of the cartel. This illegal business contributes to the recent explosion in trade between Mexico and China. Last year, China's exports to Mexico were worth over $75 billion.
其实那他们那个钱，美国汇不过来，就在这里可以拿到批水，也是这样一个道理。
墨西哥係做黑嘅好犀利嘅，做黑嘅。因為黑幫路呢度啊，這個毒品啊，在這個放在美國那邊啊，在哪裡啊，是什麼國家啊，在拿毒品啊，什麼哪邊的什麼都是，轉來轉去都是這筆錢，
都是這樣。
毒品給你那邊。 給你中國這個貪污這個錢呢，也是都是騙來的這錢，在中國轉來去，在墨西哥也轉來，美國也轉來，都是。
Think of it this way: it's a way for the Chinese money launderer to recoup his money that he fronted to the Mexican drug trafficker.
And so once these goods are sold, then there's cash flowing in Mexico.
Exactly.
And then he can use that cash to pay the cartels.
Exactly.
The Chinese triads tell us they import goods to Mexico and export drugs to Hong Kong. They can do this, they say, because of their relationship with the cartel and because they pay bribes to customs officials.
你咩都冇睇到。
墨西哥呢啲實例咧係都係嗰個。
Now I gotta point out something, a good point that I was gonna mention later, but I'm glad the sister Sam Hamill pointed it out now. And now's a good time as any to go ahead and bring it up. Sister, you are absolutely right. Due to white supremacist greed, shipping all the manufacturing jobs overseas, yes, they have the American taxpayers involved in it because everything is now made in good old one-ton soup China. See how illogical white supremacy is? If stuff was still mostly made here in America, you know, we wouldn't be. Look, let's put it this way. Imagine how the Chinese are laughing at us about this. And thanks to Jim Crow Joe Biden. Yeah, so we're going to lay this at his doorstep too. And all the rest of them that were complicit in sending all the manufacturing jobs overseas. Thanks a lot, you goofy white supremacists. So good point you made there in the chat, so let it continue.
我哋一般咧就大多數就係蜘蛛啊，或者汽水，但係我哋專業啲嘅係豬仔係。我裝好晒，我買好晒軍，我哋使好多錢喺度買軍㗎。
This gang member cited a recent batch of meth they shipped hidden in candle wax, right about the same time that a similar shipment was seized by Hong Kong Customs Police.
就咁，我立即話，啱啱係呢個新聞都係我哋㗎。總之，墨西哥你絕對唔需要同我擔心嚇，需要同我擔心嘅得唔得級？因為我唔敢去包香港嗰拍㗎嘛，你香港嗰拍我點包？但係墨西哥我可以。呢行嘅話，我好熟㗎。雖然我唔知你真係咩嘅話，嗰時我講呢包裝嚟㗎，因為。
From their perspective, there's a lot of money to be made, and they clearly know how to do that. But first, they were pushing to close our money laundering deal. We agreed to meet back up with our contacts in a few days. They assured us we'd pick up thousands or even millions of US dollars in New York. New York is a major hub for fentanyl. Last year, the DEA seized enough doses of the drug to kill the entire population of the city 9 times over. Brought in, they said, by the Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels. The devastating impact is everywhere. We went 2 hours north of the city to Poughkeepsie. This county has the highest overdose death rate in the state. Does the sunshine normally mean that more people are out on the streets?
When it's nice out, yeah, they're out all the time. But usually when it's, warm, they're out a little more.
So we're in Poughkeepsie in New York State. A lot of the drugs that are coming into New York City then find their way here. And we're out with Anthony, who's part of a mobile crisis team, going around checking in on people who are clearly struggling with addiction.
This is usually the place that they hang out. They use heroin here, they smoke crack, they drink, they do everything like in these areas right here.
Every day, Anthony Anderson drives around town, looking for active users he might convince to go into rehab.
I know you've been out here, man, you surviving. If you're ever interested in getting the treatment, you got my number and you know where I'm at.
I'll let you know.
All right. What up, Shell? All right, how you?
Everyone knows you around these parts.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been doing this work for?
I've been in the field for about 20 years now. It was hard enough getting people off of heroin, but, with the fentanyl epidemic, they're just dropping like flies. The other day we were out here and a lady was ODing right here, but we got her to the hospital. Some of them are getting to, rehab for a period of time and then they end up relapsing. But that little bit of time that they were, in rehab might have saved their life. Now you're gonna see some strange behavior. Let me see if I can speak to him. You're right. All right, man?
Yeah.
Now, I gotta pause it right here. Y'all knew I was finna get ready to go here. Oh, yes, I am. Yes, I am. During the crack era, during the crack era, many of you in my chat room right now probably have loved ones that are incarcerated because of the 1994 crime bill. They were not riding around with people trying to see if folks needed help back then. Oh, no. There was only one type of car coming around for our people that had a drug addiction. There wasn't no type of counselor. Oh, no, it was them folks. So now the chickens have come home to roost. I'm not celebrating it, but you reap what you sow. Oh, boy, how have the chickens ever come home to roost, and you gonna reap what you sow? Because, when you dig a hole for somebody, history has taught you that you may as well go ahead and dig one for yourself. And I keep saying this over and over, and I'm going to say it yet again. Keep playing with God's children if you want to. It's not even us that you're going to have to worry about. His patience is not everlasting, okay? It's not. Now you seeing that you're being punished in more ways than one, because this right here, what you're about to see, they're not going to mass incarcerate each other. So now they got to sit here with this on the street. So now let me show you where I'm going with this. Don't you know that China, the chief rival of the United States on the military and economic world stage, don't you know that they see that and they're like, you know what? Yeah, that's one of your internal problems. Let's capitalize on that. They'd be a fool if they didn't. So yeah, but you know, let me stop talking because, you know, I need to fit the low IQ stereotype. So let me just get back in my lane. You know what I'm saying? According to them, we ain't supposed to be smart enough to figure that kind of stuff out. Unfortunately for them, China is. Let's let it continue.
Right.
Yeah.
What you using now, man?
You talking about substances?
Yeah.
Well, we have an opiate addiction.
Yeah. You know I'm here for you, man, if you want to get into treatment, man. Would you consider?
Definitely consider. It's
Here, take my card, man. Rod, you know I'm serious, man. You know people are dying out here, man. I don't want to see you go out like that. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
He does not seem in great shape.
No, this is the worst I've seen him. You know, I've been dealing with him for years. He wasn't using fentanyl. He was just cocaine and crack. And then now he's just straight fentanyl.
He's on fentanyl now?
Yeah. And he does this dance. He does this all the time. But he's gonna die one day.
It must be so frustrating when you see the same people out over and over.
Yeah. It's sad, you know, to say the least. It's sad, and you can't give up. I just keep trying. They know I'm here, you know. It just reminds them, you know, there's somebody out here. This is the one that OD'd the other day. Let me speak to them real quick. Hi. Hey, how you doing, Lola?
Oh, you know my name?
Yeah, you know I know you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Isabel. Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
My son just passed.
I'm
from OD.
so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Name?
Jason.
Jason.
He's full of life. Happy. Always laughing.
What happened? I mean, what was he taking?
A bag of heroin, which was fentanyl.
It was fentanyl?
Yeah. And he says, Mom, I swear to you, I'm not using. And I believe him. One bag. Only took one bag. He sniffed and he died. Well, yeah, I've lost about 25.
Gotta pause it, you know, because while she's recounting her issue there and her son, you know, died of an overdose, I got to raise this question. White supremacists, you are going back to this IQ thing because you keep telling us how low, you know, black people's IQs are. Well, in the age of Aquarius, the internet era where knowledge is literally at your fingertip, you heard what she just said, because that's very true. All it take, the first time you try that shit could be your last time. It'll help you finish with all your living, okay? Now, my question is, if you have such an high IQ, and this information is out here for everybody, how can you claim to be so intelligent when you knowingly decide to try this drug? I'm just saying. I just want answers, family. Because, you know, that's what they keep telling us. But, you know, let me let it continue. I just want to throw that out there in the ether. Food for thought.
Friends.
25 friends?
Forget, I've OD'd like 18 times. I still did it. But after his death, I hate to say it, but my son's death made me open my eyes. You know, it made me really open my eyes to this shit.
Later on, we caught up with Ryan.
once he comes down, he's a different person.
Hi, Ryan.
Ron, I'm gonna come across there.
I thought I was a heroin addict, and then you come to find out that it probably all has fentanyl in it. What happens is when you're in withdrawal, then you find actual heroin and you take it, but you're still in withdrawal.
How bad has it gotten?
I use drugs every day. It's bad. I OD'd not that long ago, and they forced a separation, like with the children.
You've been separated from your kids? How many kids do you have?
2 children, 18 and 14. Dealing with that is harder than dealing with addiction. I can choose not to do the drug, right? But then I'm gonna start going through withdrawal. Once the withdrawal kicks in, reality's different,
Now, take a good look at this picture if you are a young black teenager or a young black person in your early 20s. Because the drug they're talking about here in this report is fentanyl. However, let me take the time to say this to young black people, because you're the future of our people. Listen to what he's saying, because there are some things that you should never even try, okay? There's some things you should never get started on, because once you do, ain't no going back. But this guy, there's no treatment that's gonna sober him up. Not with this. Cocaine, you could kick that. You could even kick heroin, which is even more addictive than cocaine. You can give up cigarettes, weed. Hell, if you can stop in time, you can even kick taking them damn mollies and shit. Know what you're not gonna kick? Fentanyl. You know why? Because really, you playing Russian roulette. It's so potent and so powerful, you're not gonna be an addict for long. Oh no, you ain't got but a couple of good times to make sure you enjoy that high, because not only will you start to look like this guy, but you're gonna finish with all your living sooner than later before anybody gets a chance to even attempt to waste time and try to get you off of that. There's no kicking that, okay? It will kick you into the ground before you kick it. My message to young black people, find other ways to get high. Get high on life. As cliche and as old school as that saying is, do that. Let your mechanisms to deal with things be constructive. Exercise, reading, jogging, actually socializing. Whatever it is, let it be something that adds to your mental health, physical and spiritual well-being, not something that subtracts from it. If what you need to do to have a good time has some type of effect where it's affecting your physical health and your appearance, okay, just know if you keep doing that long enough, you may not be able to quit. And for heaven's sake, do not, because I get it, we're in the most integrated generation we've ever seen. Don't go trying this crap because some of your white buddies is geeking out on it, okay? You better not be trying to do everything your little white friends do. If you don't have no parents to tell you, Aunt GBS is telling you, okay? Just let it continue.
How much is it that you're spending on a daily or weekly basis?
Realistically, let's say $50 to $200.
$50 to $200 a day?
You can use over $1,000 in a day if you had it.
It has to be known that this amount of fentanyl is coming into these areas. From China, then it goes through Mexico, then it comes here. It can be stopped.
Why do you think it's not being stopped?
Because somebody's profiting. At the end of the day, it's about money.
The money used to buy drugs, $10, $20 at a time, often ends up in the hands of the Chinese triads. In New York City, Fatty, our contact from the triads in Mexico, flew in to meet us to do the money transfer we talked about. The plan was to pick up cash from drug profits here in New York and transfer that same amount of money to the triads' bank accounts in China. Our colleagues right now are inside a restaurant just down the road where they are sat in a private room with the same guys that we were with in Mexico City. For security reasons, I'm not going with them. And we're listening into their conversation so we can hear what's happening.
Fatty introduced us to another powerful Triad member. He's the contact in New York, trusted by the Mexican cartels to handle the cash that comes from drug sales in the US and to connect it to the Chinese buyers, like us.
Now, let me pause this right here and point out a key difference between how this would have went if this was a Yakuza operation. Let me tell you something. Not that there are no Chinese Triad members that won't do this, but one thing I know for a fact, the Japanese Yakuza, they are very strict about using technology to detect any type of camera or wire system. I'm going to be blunt about this. Had this been a meeting of Yakuza associates, this would have been a short report. I'll put it that way. And nobody would have ever found the footage. I'm going to leave it right there. I think y'all understand that. What's understood don't need to be explained. They do not play about being infiltrated or using modern day technology to find out if they're about to be infiltrated. Let's let it continue.
Since we last saw them in Mexico, we've been in constant touch, and these guys are pushing for us to make this deal. These guys are used to doing these deals where they're bringing in millions of dollars in cash into the US. You know, in terms of what their clients then do with that cash, is that they're trying to then legalize it, get it into the US banking system.
The New York Triad member tells us there are lots of ways to clean our cash here in the US, and he's not the only one doing it.
Right now, the best place to hide and launder ill-gotten gains is actually the United States.
That's because of shell companies, which the Triad members recommend we set up. Buy property in cash using a shell company, and no one has to ask who you are or where the money comes from. Criminal investigations have
Now, family, you know how we, foundational Black American freedmen, over here in our homeland, we can't even get legitimate business loans without a whole bunch of red tape to open up legitimate businesses. However, what you're about to hear right here, oh man, they can get all this money and set up all these little shell companies. Nobody's running no inspections on them. You know, kind of like their little massage parlors. Clearing my throat again. Yeah, massage my ass. Yeah. Listen, man, all this stuff while they sitting here scrutinizing Black people, I want you to look at the money that you see on your screen here that they're talking about. You know what? I'm not going to even say nothing. Just listen to this. But yet, we the big problem, the black on black crime and all this other stuff. We got all this crime going on. Oh, it's us though. We the problem, family. We the problem. Yeah.
Covered billions of illegal dollars stashed in real estate. And that's just what's been found out. Last year, Chinese nationals were the largest foreign buyers of American properties. Some of that money can be directly linked to drug profits.
We saw a trend of Chinese money launderers using what we could verify as dirty money purchasing real estate. That's quite upsetting when the price of a house today is what it is, and people are getting outbid by cash buyers, it makes me think, how many of those are tied to a criminal organization.
我的实力，或者说我的东西已经摆在面前了，摆在这个桌子上了。那现在我就要等你们把东西给我了。给我看一下，你就要让我看到你们能操控的东西，这是未必能够确定的，因为。
The Triad clearly felt like they'd spent enough time explaining how it all worked. They began to put pressure on us to actually do the transaction. They told us to meet them that night and pick up $100,000 in cash. They considered this a small deal to test the water, with far more lucrative deals to follow.
在这边昨天掌握了，我算。不要打了，我很困。
今天晚上你7点左右吧，一定要确定好了，因为他们比较准时。就晚上最多个5分钟左右，不然的话，很多人会觉得你在半路上是不是有变化？是什么事情？
变化脸对，
不是准时的，变化。
Later that day, Fatty called us to tell us he'd got our cash, and he had an update to the plan.
領隊，
你而家嗰啲我已經準備好晒，你睇下你哋到時聽日過到嚟睇下點傾嘅話就咩啦。
冇問題 ，OK。Oh, he just sent the USDT.
Oh, he's just sent this?
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is the account for USDT for Tether,
USDT.
cryptocurrency?
Yes.
So now they're saying that they don't want it in RMB, they want it in USDT,
yes.
cryptocurrency.
This is the first transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly, like we, at 6:30 or 7, we transfer to this account, then they will deliver the cash.
Cryptocurrency is the latest way the Triads are perfecting their own process. By making transactions through cryptocurrencies like Tether, they can move money in a way that doesn't even require Chinese bank accounts. What Fatty asked us to do matched descriptions in more recent court documents of how money laundering networks use crypto. That night, they told us to send $100,000 to their USDT account, and we would pick up $100,000 in readily available cash.
Why? Well, 我而家坐緊車啊，錢準備好未
？90萬蚊嗰人約嚟咗呢邊附近㗎啦，你一打咗錢，我哋2個人手叫嗰人送過嚟就得㗎啦。
我就依家好快到㗎啦。
It's very, very tense right now because they're expecting us to be there to do a transaction. And we're waiting for evidence that they've actually got the cash.
我而家差唔多到㗎啦，嗰個老闆嗰陣同我講話，你確定嗰個錢喺嗰度？
我哋係100%講定有錢喺呢度，如果唔係我都唔會跟過嚟啦，係咪？
我知。
我從墨西哥過嚟真係因為因為我朋友真係做咗10幾年㗎，唔係講解。
喂。
It's gonna get suspicious now.
No, I don't think so. Video call. 喂，我而家車係差唔多到啦。我哋
而家喺呢度等你哋啊。
係啊，你同呢度講聲啦，嗰個你有冇見到錢啊？咁咪或者見到個揸錢嗰個影張相過嚟，我就即刻就到啦。我1分鐘就可以到啦。你明唔明啊？我係驚個老闆話見到錢之後先過嚟成交嘛。
你等埋依家，我叫佢哋發支相過嚟。
We got it. He sent the photo. Damn. Is that what 100 grand looks like in $20 bills? That is a fuckload of cash. Sorry. Wow.
All 20 bills.
Can I see the photo?
Yeah.
Or did you send it to me?
I haven't sent it.
So this is the photo that these guys have just sent through. I mean, this is very clear evidence that they have this amount of cash readily available to make these kind of transactions and can action it very, very quickly. Ugh, he's calling. He's calling.
What are you going to say?
Wait. Wait, stop. Wait. Hey, stop it. 我而家轉乜過嚟嘛？而家過嚟，等一等。
I mean, and now we've got that evidence, we really need to cut all communications for our own safety. We're obviously not actually going to do the transaction, and we need to get out of here.
We blocked their numbers, switched our phones, and burned all contact with the triads. What we witnessed was evidence that these triad members can get hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash on demand. The 100 grand that we would have picked up is just a tiny piece of the huge sums of money being transferred on a regular basis. The US State Department estimates that $154 billion in illicit proceeds move through China each year. While we were undercover, our contacts repeatedly told us that these deals to launder drug profits often involve so-called black money. That's money stemming from corruption and bribery in China.
大陸持嘅現金，所有錢都係黑錢啦，係咪？因為你啲錢係唔乾淨嘅，我按照唔乾淨嘅方式去處理。我也會，好吧，我以後都會把錢，不管是乾淨的錢還是黑的錢。
That means this murky underworld is likely connected to Chinese Communist Party officials. It's that connection directly to the Chinese government that makes this kind of criminal activity so difficult to crack down on.
Now, they tell us that, the immigrants that come over here, and there are some that do fit the descriptions, but when it comes to these particular ones that they can classify as white, they tell us they work so hard. They gave them the model minority term. And then when we criticize them, we get told to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Now, before this, they had the college admission scams. I mean, just every time you turn around, look, brothers and sisters on the West Coast know this for a fact. Most of the guns and stuff that come in over there, that's how it gets in. Who you think got access to all these different shipping port connections where they can get these guns in there, man? I ain't saying nothing new. But yet, we the problem, though, black folks. Nobody in this chat room knows a black person that's got anything like what I just showed you here tonight going on. But again, we the problem. And remember, we're not tired of Jim Crow Joe Biden that facilitated all of this, okay? Just remember that. Let's let it continue.
Well, we certainly would like to see the tensions de-escalate. The tensions are high, and we all want to see the tensions come down. We understand the bilateral relationship with China is tense right now.
Tense is an understatement. US-China relations are at an all-time low. In his recent visit to China, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that cooperation between the two countries was needed to make any inroads against the global fentanyl trade, that this should go above politics. But so far, China has been resistant, saying that it's up to the US to, quote, undo its wrong moves before they're able to cooperate. And as tensions climb higher and higher, the chances of the two countries working together to combat the global drug trade are diminishing.
It's vanilla rice, beans, stewed chicken, and then some of their coffee.
Thank you. I'm gonna ask first one. Yeah. My son's supposed to graduate. He's graduating. Then he's going this summer. The end of the school year.
Let's get it right before that, Rob. Come on. We have to. I want to see you at the graduation. Don't even worry about something to wear. Just come on. I got you.
All right.
All right? So I'll holler at you later in the week. All right, Rob. We don't take off, man. I'm going to holler at you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, man.
Since we met up with Anthony, he managed to get Ryan into a methadone program. But after just a couple of days, Ryan was back on the streets. Some of Anthony's success stories have stayed in rehab. At the Lexington Center for Recovery, we sat in on a therapy session for people in treatment for substance abuse.
This is important, especially for early in recovery, when our emotions are all out of whack. We're numbing the pain for so long that now that you're sober, all these emotions come to play.
In recovery, it's like almost like teaching you how to like live again. Because I don't know how to live sober.
It's hard too because like you want to just beat yourself up because you're like, I can't believe that I'm here. I tell myself that it's only right now and continuing to use will only extend the time that we're living with our parents or in halfway houses or whatever.
So pretty much everyone has at some point been using fentanyl.
I was doing it knowingly. I wanted it. I had to have it. Like, that's sick. There's people out here doing it and they don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
I was prescribed Percocet and something just clicked. And after a while, it doesn't really feel like a high. It just feels like getting normal. That's why people call it getting right.
When I worked at the hospital as a nurse, you know, that's when my drug use was bad because, you know, you take home all this crap with you. I was every day getting high just to function.
There's a lot of people obviously making a lot of money from fentanyl. What would your message be to those people?
Stop killing people. And I know it's good, the money's great. I know that for a fact.
He doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. He doesn't give a fuck if you die. He's just there to get that dollar. That's it, bottom line.
This year, more Americans are dying at record levels. While the global drug trade is estimated to be worth over $650 billion. With so many players profiting, it feels unstoppable. You spent years going after essentially one guy, right?
Yeah, somebody filled his spots as soon as we arrested him. It's gonna be a losing battle. On the international stage, they're always one step ahead of law enforcement. We're always trying to catch up.
我哋負責緊變化，即係咁嘅意思咯，係嘛？例如你知道墨西哥啦，始終要係一個島國嚟嘅，有比較低特反嘅地方嚟嘅。
點解睇你墨西哥呢度差唔多嗰啲賊仲犀利過政府？
做我们那一行的话，钱来得快，掉得快。钱来得很快，掉得很快。
我们的路跟交易永远不会断。
And there you have it, family. So now you know the other component that goes along hand in hand with this illegal alien invasion. People are making money on smuggling those illegal aliens up here and helping them cross. And they're also making money from everything I just showed you here tonight. I always said, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. Okay? You heard the reporter there, and the brother told her, he was like, listen, you talking about what would they say to people that's making money off the fentanyl? See, that's a person that's so naive when it comes to that. Like, oh my God, did you hear her ask them what they thought? Like, they don't care about that. They're only trying to make money. And then beyond just making money, you heard earlier in the broadcast how when they were talking to Xi Jinping, before they cooperate with the United States or anything, they said it's up to the United States to make right his wrongs. What do you think he meant by that? He was like, hey, listen, man, this leaning on China over here in the South China Sea, sticking your nose into our business with Taiwan, who produces most of the world's semiconductors. We might need you to fall back, and then maybe we'll think about helping you because, you know, the more these numbers of yours that fall here, that's in our benefit. So basically, in layman's terms, Xi Jinping is like, look, we're not finna help you do nothing. Yeah, but black folks, the problem though, family, just remember that. So I'll leave that information right there, but let me close with this tonight, speaking to Black America, my primary concern. Take to heart everything that you see here so that you have an extra eye out for these things that are going on with all this illegal alien invasion that has been allowed to come into our neighborhoods, so that you're aware of all the things that these illegal aliens have going on, okay? These foreign nationals, whatever name you want to call them. And the further admonition I give to Black youth, whatever you start doing, please don't get started with any kind of drugs. It is not the answer, okay? You don't have some type of chronic terminal illness, find other things to do to have fun. Your body is precious. It should be taken care of. And the better you take care of it, the better it will take care of you in your later years. We are a great and mighty people. We need you. And we cannot have a bunch of damn zombies like you saw here on this broadcast if we're going to be a strong and completely empowered people, okay? So with that said, family, thank you to everybody that contributed to the broadcast. Salute to you all. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you all in future content.
It's the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, and we still have a lot of discrepancies as far as the origins of hip-hop, a lot of claims, who did what, who was the first this, who was the this and that, and such. But at the end of the day, we need a definitive story, all right? And that story can only be told by the founders of this culture.
Like everything was being driven and influenced by young, Black, American culture, like the slang, the style of dress, the initial music that we chose.
Look at all the boroughs. You got, Money Making Manhattan and Money Earning Mount Vernon and Crooklyn. The Bronx was the boogie down Bronx. We was partying up there.
I am Coke LaRock, the first MC of hip hop. First cat to pick the mic up.
I introduced rapping to the turntable because when I came with it, nobody in the world was doing it. I'm right after Rudy Ray Moore.
They want to come in the mix, they want to say, we started. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. What came to be known as hip hop was solely an African-American creation.
What you get out of some Jamaican toast? What is that? I've never heard of a rapper use a Jamaican toast or a Jamaican fleur as a rhyme. I never heard of it, and I don't know where that myth came from.
My name is legendary King Trixie from the Bronx, BX from the West Side. I am the first breakdancer.
And that narrative that hip-hop has had 3 founding fathers, that's been rolling for the last almost 30 years, which isn't true. You don't have just 3 people who created hip-hop. Hip-hop was created by a number of different people.
I am the grandfather, the godfather of the graffiti culture. I am the first element of hip-hop.
The roots of hip-hop being Jamaican, absolutely false.
My name is MC Sha-Rock. I am a founding member of the MC/rap culture.
Cassette tapes was the internet of our time. It just traveled around by hand.
I know for a fact that the B-Boy stand started from the guards, the 5%ers that would be at the jams back in the days who were acting as security.
If they get the real truth of how it all was created, then so many lies would not be able to be in existence.